Summer's been good. Weather's good. Um, as far as playing, they showed pretty good interest in me. I have a little one on the way, so trying to stay closer to home if I could. I didn't think this was a possibility at all, but I'm friends with. I have a good relationship with Mark Bernard, the GM. So when he reached out, I didn't really think it was anything hockey wise, really, other than just seeing what's up, and kind of materialized into something real, and works out for both parties.
What does it mean to you to come back to this organization, which we'll dive into a little bit, but you put up tremendous numbers in your career overall, but especially with the Rockford IceHogs, and you're the all-time leading defensive scorer for the IceHogs and can even challenge with a good year. Brandon Peary for the overall spot. So this is a second home for you coming back to the 815.
Yeah, it's awesome. It worked out for me too, I guess, because I'm familiar with Bernie, and then I'm familiar with the coaching staff now, Anders, and I played with Jared Nightingale. It just kind of felt comfortable. I spoke to them previous to signing the actual deal, and we all seem to be on the same page. And as far as that side of it goes, that made me feel comfortable and welcome, obviously, too. So, but yeah, I think being comfortable, knowing the city, knowing the fans, knowing the schedule, the travel, and all the success I've had in the past, it's a special place for me. It's where I started my career, I want to say 12 years ago. And it all goes to be a blur together, but, and then I came back and we went on that run there for a while with a real good team there, and, kind of trying to do the same thing. I had a blast that time, and, similar role for me, and hopefully build a team like that one and see where it takes us.
Hi, Adam. Good to have you back here in Rockford with the IceHogs. You mentioned with the little one on the way, you wanted to stay closer to home. Is Chicago home for you now?
Yeah, my wife's from Tinley Park area. So we actually own a place in Frankfurt. So it's like a southern suburb of Chicago. That's our home base in the summers. And then wherever I play, obviously, is wherever we are in the season. But, obviously, I had some other teams I could choose from, various parts of the country. And, when this one popped up, it definitely piqued our interest.
So at this stage of your career, what are your goals? What are you shooting for right now?
I mean, I want to be, a leader, which, I have been in the past there and on other teams. And, I get the role of maybe helping some of the younger players, but I think a personal goal for me is like, I still find myself a very useful player, and I think I could play at the NHL level. I guess you could say I turned 30 this year. I'm getting older in hockey terms, but, I still believe in my game and my heart that I can play in the NHL and I can help a team there too. So I'd like to, play really good hockey and kind of force their hands and see what happens.
One more from me here, and I'll let the others jump in. But do you obviously put up good numbers at Lehigh last season? Do you feel like you're still at peak level performance right now? And have you changed your game at all from 5 years ago when you were last here?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm, peak performance, peak shape. I think sometimes they say like you get better as you get older. And I think that's kind of where I'm at. My game is, definitely rounded out. When I was, there my first couple of years turning pro, I was very raw and still, it's hard. It's a hard game to make a living at and play at the highest level. So I was still trying to figure that out. And then coming back, I thought I was a better player then than I was originally the first time. And I think I could say the same now. I think I'm a more complete player, play both sides of the puck, pretty much any situation you want, and be a reliable guy. And, it's taken, I want to say 11, 12 years pro for me to, finally get to that stage. So I think it's a good teaching lesson for me to also bring to the kids per se that are turning pro in the first couple of years, and just something I can bring along.
Hey, Adam. Yeah, you've been, like you said, been a pro now for 10 plus years. Just what are some of the things you've learned about yourself and what it takes just day in and day out to get through a season and to find success?
Don't get too high, don't get too low. And that's a big thing. Like, I mean, you're going to find, especially in the American League, you're going to find weeks or even a month where, for a guy that likes to play offense or supposed to produce this and that, maybe sometimes you go cold for a little bit, or it's not kind of bouncing your way, or you're struggling a little bit. You still need to find ways to be productive and help the team win. I think that was a big thing that I've learned throughout my time in every organization that I've played in. And then I think just being patient. Again, like, it's probably something that as a younger kid, it's probably the number one thing I would say now is, like, everybody wants to play in the NHL and everybody wants to sign these massive contracts that you're looking at and be the go-to guy at the next level. But it's a very, very hard thing to do. And the guys that do it are so special that, it's okay to take an extra year or two and be patient with it and play and solidify yourself to be ready for that next level, rather than, as I look back on it, maybe I was in a bit of a rush, and it's something that I wish I could go back and change, but I can't. And, it may or may not have worked either way. We don't know, but, I think those are probably the two biggest things: patience and just kind of stay even keel with it and see where the season takes you. Do your job and don't worry about other people.
And you also always kind of seem to bring that kind of fun, loose mentality to the locker room. Is that something you're still bringing to the table to pass on to these young kids?
Yeah, I think a little more now than ever, just because it's still fun for me. I still love it. I'm kind of the opposite of where it was for me back then, where, you're giving the young guys a little bit of a hard time, razzing them, this and that. It's kind of like, it's not payback, but it's part of the game, right? And you want to hold up that tradition, you want to call it. It's nothing, negative by any means, but it's part of the game. It's part of becoming a pro. And I think it's just fun. Like, you look back and you have your own memories of, like, man, that guy was, it was hard on me, or I got picked on by the coaches and this and that. And it's like trying to help the kids realize that they're not picking on you. They're just trying to make you better. That's all.
And Adam, back with me. This organization, the Chicago Blackhawks, their focus this year, and you touched upon it a little bit, and even last year in the previous, is development and growing the game with a lot of these youngsters that have come in. And with the IceHogs these past couple of years, we've seen veterans like yourself, a guy like Cody Franson, Ryan Stanton last year, helping patrol that blue line, which there's a lot of defensive depth in the Chicago Blackhawks organization. Yep. How will you use that into your game? You talked about being a leader and being able to lead by example, but take us inside the locker room, inside training camp. Hockey season is going to be here before you know it. And I know from a development standpoint, your role is going to play a pretty big part in that area.
Yeah, I mean, I think just kind of, look, there's plenty enough there to keep me busy all day long about my own game. But I think, in terms of little skills or, situational things in a game or even in practice, trying to, practice as if you play and, develop those habits where, yeah, it's practice and it's probably a Wednesday morning and we're, doing it in front of nobody, but it's just like anything else. If, just like riding a bike, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, the more comfortable you are making the right decisions. It just becomes a second nature kind of thing. So I think that part of doing that, and if I need to, be not like another coach, but if players are going to ask me for help on a skill or something, the way I, whatever, I play a certain situation, I would just, I would run it through myself, obviously, and then I would, make sure they hear it from the coaching staff as well. But as long as we're on the same page, like, I'm also playing under the same coaches that these guys are. So I wouldn't say I want to go against or anything, or, I'm definitely trying to be under Anders and Jared's watch too. So if they have a question, obviously I'd answer, but I'd probably send him that way first.
And with that too, sometimes the coaching staff, I've heard Andres mention over the last couple of years that just to have that voice and almost lean on a player of your caliber and experience as another voice, just so they're not hearing the same things over and over from them. And he even said, quote unquote, that it's like having an additional coach out on the ice. I know you're still battling, you still have your goals, but is that a role that you're looking forward to embracing, being a competitor first, but also being able to maybe pull a couple of the young guys aside and work with them as well, just to be an additional voice for the coaching staff?
Yeah, I mean, look, I was in that position too. So it got annoying when you hear the same coach say the same thing over and over again, where it's like, okay, well, like there's got to be something to it if he keeps bringing it up. But just like any other human, if you hear it from the same person, just like me hearing it from my mom or you hearing it from your mother, like at one point you're like, I don't want to listen to it anymore. But, if a guy that's done it, been successful at it, and, you have mutual respect for, can help you out, then I think it helps. And I think it's part of my role and, something I have to work at too. I'm technically a new guy coming into that room where you have to grab a little bit of respect from guys that you've never played with before. And the only way to do that is to do things the right way, play hard, and make sure you're taking care of your business before you try and help or anything else with other people. You have to make sure you're doing the right things and showing the right way to play and worrying how you are impacting the team rather than helping everybody else first.
Adam, you're a big part of the fabric of this organization, the Rockford IceHogs, and now going into their 16th season in the American Hockey League. Looking at some of your numbers, all-time points leader by a defenseman at 148. You trailed Billy Polka by 2 goals for all-time goals by a defenseman. You already have the assist mark for blue liners, and you're even challenging guys like Brandon Peary, Jeremy Morin, Mark McNeil for the overall points mark too. Is that another goal for you going into the season, is to not only, contribute where you can, but to, kind of keep adding to that IceHog record book and the lore that has become Adam Clendening here in the State Line community?
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, it's an honor to hold a record anywhere, but Brandon's one of my close buddies, and when he found out today, he texted me, and I told him if I get the record, then he'd have to come back and play another year too. So we got a little side action on if I can get it or not. So it'll be something on the back burner, but hopefully I can, put him in number 2. It'll be something I have over his head.